It's the energy that you bring to the session, the end. If you're coming into that session and you are intentionally, and I don't mean, oh, my intention was, when your intention is to dump all your problems out on the table and have somebody else solve them for you, and then you get to walk away free and clean and not do anything, versus I take full ownership and responsibility for my stuff. I am coming to you because I have hit this point where I cannot see any further. My egoic block is so damn gnarly. I need your support. I need your help. I am totally 100% willing to do what it takes if you would just show me where I'm jacking this thing up. Those are two very different energies that I'm coming towards. Somebody said to me, I need to be here. I need her. She fixes me. She heals me. And something came up in me. She's never wanted you to look at her that way. She's never wanted this. How dare you?
Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast, your highest source of sacred truths and universal wisdom. Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Rachel Fiori, mystic, spiritual teacher, psychic healer, and founder of Masters of Self University. Join our journey of soul transformation as we deep dive into this latest episode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Masters of Self University podcast. I'm your host, Ellie Lee.
And I'm your host, Danny Morley.
And today we are joined by mystical coach of oneness, Rachel Baker.
Hello
Rachel.
Hi.
So starting next year, January 2025, we will be launching many new courses, which is so exciting. And Rachel Baker here will be teaching one of those new courses called Utilizing the Sacred Path to Plant Medicine. So take it away.
Yeah, I'm excited to offer this course. It is jam-packed full of so much goodness and helping us understand the role of the plant helpers. We are currently calling it plant medicine. And fortunately, it's come to the surface as being a thing that can be a supportive tool. And unfortunately, we have jam-packed plant medicine with a bunch of other stuff. So it's my job to help facilitate a brand new or evolved understanding of how to use these plant helpers in our lives, and not utilize them in a way that is out of integrity. So we'll be offering 8-week course in 2025 that will introduce what plant medicine or plant helpers are, some of the ways in which we brought plant medicine, plant helpers into Western mind and into the Western world, what we have done with it, and where we need to start doing some massive course correction as it relates to how we're utilizing some of these plant helpers.
And why do you feel like there is a need? Let's go into why is there a need for a course correction? What course are we on? What do you see out in the world?
So when the elders and the seers were noticing that Western was coming down and wanting to bring the helpers towards us, the prophecy said, oh God, no, a lot of them really didn't want this to occur because of what we may do with it. And yes, some of that has unfolded, and it has caused a lot of problems and a lot of confusion. And the medicine itself, the spirit of many of these helpers not really being listened to, not being understood, not being respected, not being honored, being abused. I'm just going to use that word, being abused, being misunderstood, not being honored in what they're actually here to do, how they're actually meant to help us, and how we're approaching this whole entire thing is where the course correction needs to take place. When I come to you and I ask you for support, and I ask you for guidance, and I ask you for help, I'm not telling you that that's what you're going to be doing for me. And then when you don't follow through with what I expected you to do, I'm upset with you and blame you. And it's a very big difference than what it was originally purposed as, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. And you keep mentioning the word help, right? They're here to help us. How, like, what does that mean? Like, how are they here to help us?
They are so uniquely, each one of them in their own unique little ways, offering us spaces and places in which we can see ourselves in a very different way and experience ourselves in a very different way. And then it offers you the opportunity to take that information and apply it in your everyday life. And even in those moments, I give you an opportunity to connect with these deeper aspects of yourself. You must make the choice. And I'm going to guide you there, and I'm going to support you on your path. And then once you're there, it's your turn. You make the decision. So for instance, if I show you in a vision, because it definitely thins the egoic veil while you're in there, and I show you a vision about ways in which you are holding yourself back, you then have to make the choice to take that information and utilize it in your everyday life. I am not going to do it for you, and that was never my responsibility, if that makes sense.
Yeah, let's talk about the irresponsibility part of it. Because the first time that I ever was asked to do plant medicine, it was a 3-day ritual, and it was doing peyote. And the way that it was pitched to me was basically like, you should try this, you need this, but I had no foundation, I had nothing going into it. And when I left that whole situation, I thought that, okay, this is the answer to everything, even though peyote didn't affect me at all. Like, I didn't experience anything. But there were so many people that I met at that retreat that I could tell this was the only gateway to quote unquote spirituality, or they really thought that they were elevating, or they really thought that they were evolving. And not to say that plant medicine doesn't allow people to awaken in some way, shape, or form, but I could see that it was something that it was, I don't like it, it's an addiction, like I met one guy that was like, I just did 3 ayahuasca trips. Now I'm doing this one. After this, I'm going to another one. And it's like this high that they get on. And so I've seen that a lot in the world of spirituality, of really talking about and taking plant medicine very irresponsibly. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because I'm sure you've seen so much of that.
Yeah, I'm only 12 years in to working with the plants in this way. And that, and I say only 12, and some might be like, oh my God. And other people like, yeah, whatever. So I do get it. I'm only 12 years in, but I'll say this, and this is very important. Let this sink in, everybody listening. It's the energy that you bring to the session. The end. If you're coming into that session and you are intentionally, and I don't mean, oh, my intention was, you guys know what I'm saying, and I really want to hit this home from the energetic standpoint. When your intention is to dump all your problems out on the table and have somebody else solve them for you, and then you get to walk away free and clean and not do anything, versus I take full ownership and responsibility for my stuff. I am coming to you because I have hit this point where I cannot see any further. My egoic block is so damn gnarly. I need your support. I need your help. I am totally 100% willing to do what it takes if you would just show me where I'm jacking this thing up. Those are two very different energies that I'm coming towards. And the thing that alerted me, it was a few years back, and it just struck me, Ellie. It hit me somewhere. Somebody said to me, it was right after one of the nights of Yahé, they said, I need to be here. I need her. She fixes me. She heals me. And something came up in me. And I drank ayahuasca that night. I drank Yahé that night, and it came up in me, and I was like, she didn't want that. She's never wanted you to look at her that way. She's never wanted this. How dare you? It was weird. And it felt to me like somewhat of a very interesting relationship, a very interesting dynamic.
Yeah, me and Danny met a woman earlier 2 years ago, and we started vibing because she was on a path, and she was like, she kept saying like, I need to go on another ayahuasca trip. Like, I need it. I need it. I remember, Danny, you were like, you don't need that. But it's this reliance, right? So it's another way where we externalize everything because people don't understand and realize that it's within themselves. But I see that a lot in plant medicine of like, I need this trip. I need to have this medicine. I need to experience this because without it, I'm so disconnected and blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure the plant, as you said, is like, that's not what I'm here for.
It's literally like the energy, how like, seriously, come on now.
Yeah.
She'll go, seriously, come on now. What happened here? What happened here? That's her coming through right now. Like, I can actually feel it right behind my heart chakra, and behind my throat. You can actually, and we'll get into that later in this podcast. I do want to share a little tidbit with everybody that will be super, super beneficial. It's like a freebie. So stay till the end. But she's speaking through this right now here going, come on now. Come on. We're symbiotic relationship. I'm not your crutch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to your point, Al, like when we've all been born into this like separation consciousness, right? This extreme place of darkness and toxicity, and when we grow up in separation and we're not truly elevated, and then we have an experience that opens us up spiritually, but it comes through the lens of plant medicine, then we then externalize all of the all the experience that we have, and we give all of our power away to that thing. So whether it's, we're talking about ayahuasca or cannabis or MDMA or psilocybin, whatever, you have that experience, and then all of a sudden your only way to have that experience again is to take the drug or the medicine or whatever you want to call it. And so then all of a sudden, like, it's still experiencing your spiritual, or even if you tap into like your divine nature on an amazing, mushroom trip or whatever, you're still experiencing it in separation because it's not fully integrated, because the only time you experienced it was through this medicine. And from the way that I've understood it, it's supposed to be, you have an experience. Okay, great. Go away and now integrate that, become that. Like, spend the time doing the work to become that. Now, the problem is, and this was my experience with going and doing ayahuasca, there was no integration after the retreat. I did the 2 weeks, I did the ceremonies. There was no integration after that. And that's not to blame the retreat center. It's not to blame the whole like kind of industry that's out there, so to speak, because what I see is there isn't anybody that really fully understands this integration process. At least before I started working with MSU, there isn't people out there kind of guiding people through, well, how do I actually get out of this separation? How do I have this same experience in my everyday life? how do I feel the same love that I felt while I was on the medicine in my everyday life? There doesn't seem to be that piece of true integration. And again, it's not to blame or put down anything out there. It's because it simply doesn't exist. And I'm hoping that, you know, this course and what we're offering here at MSU is going to be that bridge. It is going to be the actual teachings that will allow somebody to have an experience like that. And as you said, Breaker, at the beginning, like, not from this energy of, please take away all of my pain and suffering, please heal me, from a place of like, oh, please guide me, please teach me, I want to become this. And then actually having the real support to integrate the whatever experience you have into your everyday life, because unless it's integrated, the experience just stands as an experience. Like, it means nothing. Oh, great, you experienced love while you were under this medicine. Great. Well, what are you doing about becoming that love and bringing that love into who you are and anchoring it into your energetic fields and bringing it into everyone you interact with in your life?
Well, there are massive movements right now with a lot of the retreat centers with that component. And I have a few people that are doing that right now, and they're doing an amazing job. But here's what oftentimes happens, because they are doing an amazing job with integration. They have multiple programs that you can sign up for after utilizing their services. And when you're actually working with the indigenous people and you're working with the tribes, that's their lifestyle. That's their culture. Like, integration is their lifestyle. That's their culture. But the person might have this amazing experience, get on the airplane, go back home to their lifestyle, be invited to do these Zoom calls, be invited to do these integration coaching sessions, but either it doesn't take place, or the ideology going into it was that once I have this 8-hour experience, it should just change everything. I should be able to go back home and then put
Right.
cigarette down.
Right.
So there definitely are those movements happening. I am seeing it all over the place. There are people doing this in an integrous way. There are a lot of people from North America that are in Colombia right now working with the indigenous people to help them realize, like, hey, dudes, when they go back home, this is what they're going back to. And you have to remember that if you grew up there, you have absolutely no idea what this place looks like, feels like, smells like, tastes like. And so it's really hard to understand what's actually taking place. And so I want to remind everybody that it is happening, but it's happening on a scale that is, one, I don't feel as accessible as it probably could be. And that is not by fault of the retreat centers for the most part. For the most part, they are offering them. I'm not going to say that they're all at the highest caliber, but they are offering it. It's just the responsibility piece. Take responsibility for the fact that you're going to have to go home and do some stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I mean, we live in the world that we live in is just quick fixes. It's, how can I get the small, like the most bang for the most buck? How can I do the least and get the most? That's the kind of like the ideology that is, at least within, I can say, the US or the Western world. It's what quick fix do I need to do right now to just get through this, or get rid of whatever it is I'm experiencing. And obviously we know from this work there's no true quick fixes to transformation. It takes time. You've got to be willing and devoted, and that's the responsibility piece. And it goes back to the thing you said at the beginning, what energy are you coming in with this? If you're coming in, and that was kind of like the way that ayahuasca was sold to me was, and when I say sold to me, I mean like I've heard people talk about it, is you go there, you experience really difficult things, and then you're good. And that's just not the case. Like it may work like that for a very few people, but it takes real work, and the majority of people just want a quick fix. And a quick fix isn't going to lead to true lasting transformation. Like things take time to develop and build and integrate.
Yeah, beautifully said. And I think that's a lot of people don't actually want to do the real work. And so that's why plant medicine is such an easy way for them to go, yeah, I'm really doing it. It's like, no, you're not. And, I talk about the story a lot, but there's this guy that's out there that's very popular. And he talks about how, 3 ayahuasca trips and mushrooms healed his emotions. And it's like, doesn't even make sense. It like makes absolutely no sense, but that's the rhetoric that he's teaching so many people. And then I'm sure you see it, Baker, like an uptick in people doing plant medicine. So have you seen that since you've been in the game for 12 years, which is like, wow, it's fascinating that you've worked with plant medicine like that to understand it on the levels that you do. But yeah, have you seen what's that been like for you to see people like it become like a trendy or popular thing?
Well, for his case, he's not lying because the helpers amplify your emotions.
Mhm.
And if you have the tools to show up for yourself in the ways that we teach at Masters of Self University, oh my God, you have an amazing opportunity in there.
Mhm.
Because if you're carrying around the energy of fear, like you better damn well believe it that you're gonna be amplified in fear. So if and I've sat with multiple things since starting with MSU, and if you know this work and that gets amplified, oh, better watch out. It's pretty intense.
Yeah, so
So,
you've had an experience. Can you
oh
talk about
yeah,
one? Can you talk about one?
yeah. So here I was sitting there recognizing the misogyny, the
Mm.
sexism in the world, and the pressure and the fear. And so here feeling this fear moving through me. And before, the egoic, like, oh, it's going to be okay. It's just fear. You'll move through it. Here's the scapegoat story. Here's this bypassing story to help you get through the next 10 minutes. Why don't you just go get some water and calm yourself down and, breathe? Instead, I was like, all right, we're sitting up. We're connecting to our heart. I'm gonna let this fear flow, baby. I am scared of every damn thing on the whole damn planet right now. Woo, holy. And it takes over your whole entire body. And then you connect and you keep connecting and you keep on making the choice. Because one of the other things that happens in there is, oh, yeah, you think you're going to connect? Come down this rabbit hole over here and start thinking about all your issues that need more than tissues and blah, 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 and make up stories about all this stuff. And I'm like, no, no. Right now, what I'm actually doing is connected to my heart, and I'm blasting this sucker right here, right now, because I'm making the choice and I'm not following you down your silly old rabbit hole anymore. And it
Mm.
became a warrior's mission in that moment. So he's not all wrong. It's just that in there, do we have the tools to do what I just said? Or are we bypassing, scapegoating, leaning on, making up stories about drowning, dancing, dwelling, elaborating, lying to ourselves? You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's so powerful to know this work and then to do plant medicine and learn how to actually transform what's coming up.
It's so cool, girl. And then
Yeah.
when you feel everybody's energy. And Rachel has beautifully taught us how to be empaths, how to be an empath. Because, yeah, I'm feeling all of this. And instead of going straight into judgment Oh God, I've had to heal so much judgment in there. Instead of going straight into judgment, which was my go-to place because that was my safety, that was my security, that was my blankie with my little stuffed bunny. And instead of falling into judgment, now I have this work. I'm like, oh, there's the judgment coming through stronger than ever. Holy, this is an opportunity for me to heal another layer, big old fat chunky layer of judgment rather than falling into the trap of it. And it can happen so quickly in there, and you can go running off into the sunset with judgment hand in hand, and you don't even realize that you're doing it. Oh, huge lesson learned.
Yeah, wow. Beautiful. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that.
Mm.
So I'd love for you to go into now, for people who are ready to do plant medicine and they want to be responsible for it. What are some of the things that you're going to be teaching in this course?
Yeah, thank you so much, Ellie. That's I like that you guided us in that direction because I do want to discuss that. I get really enthusiastic about this if you can't tell.
It's great. It's
I get
great.
enthusiastic about a lot of things. um, Introducing the concepts of how to create the container, how to actually create a container for yourself. Even if you're sitting in a group, maybe you feel like the person that is facilitating isn't necessarily creating a container that is the one that you need for safety efficacy. Teaching you how to do that, you how to continue with the power within to clear your energetic field so that you can more healthfully empty the bone, empty the vessel prior to going in, so that the wisdom that's coming through is clear and clean and not attached to anything. Calling in the spirits of the medicine, calling in the spirit of the plant that you're going to be working with, whether it's cacao and the theobromine and the caffeine, or it's the ayahuasca and the chemical constituents there. Calling in the spirit of these plants ahead of time. So you're working with them, honoring them, asking them for their support and their guidance, establishing clear communication and boundaries within. Also talking about preparation and diet, or the dieta, coming into these things. We don't just assume that it's just cacao that we're working with, because if you drink alcohol 8 days ago, you're bringing alcohol to the party. It's in your cells. Teaching a person what they need to do to prepare themselves to be working with the spirit and the chemical compounds. And that's could all be in the course. And so we're going to go through 6 weeks of learning and playing and chatting and discussing. And then on week 7, we're actually going to have an online cacao sit, so that we're going to put all of this information into practical application. And then on the very last class, we'll have Q&A and integration of what we experienced with the cacao medicine.
Sign me up. I'm in. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Love cacao. Really cool. And how is this? Obviously, the title of the course is utilizing plant medicine on the sacred path. I may have just butchered the title. You'll have to correct me.
That's okay.
How is this? Obviously, the path we're walking is the sacred path, right? It's learning to connect to your heart, being in oneness, learning the ways of oneness. How is this different to other things that you see out there? Why is it that you wanted to create this course in specific?
I'm gonna get little, yeah, I'm already feeling some emotions coming up to the surface. Um, it's in honor. It's in honor of the elders who open-heartedly embraced everything that we were coming in. We were, that have been so kind to me. The plants and the animals, honoring the plants and honoring the animals, especially of the Amazon, but all of the animals and all of the plants that are part of this. So I wanted to speak for them and be a voice for them. And so that we can continue respectfully utilizing them, playing with them and having fun with them. Because this isn't all just this serious nightmare. It's also a fun, playful thing. And I think we lose sight of that often. So it's the bringing forth the playfulness and the respect and the honoring more than anything. Mhm.
Yeah, super beautiful. Um, and I think what's wonderful about this course too is it's going to be a community, right? So as people move along and they, do the cacao and they do anything else, like now you have a community to move through all of this. And so for anybody out there who's wondering though, after the course is over, will there be more integration? Will there be things like that available for them?
Yeah, so I'm sure that I will need to talk to Rachel about this a little bit more, but I will be offering integration sessions with people and offering more advanced education along these lines, because this is just a taste test. This is just opening a door for a plethora of so many other things that I'm seeing will unfold as the years go on, and I'm really excited about that. So yes, we will have one-on-one sessions and then further education and support, as well as support for people who have fallen into situations where there was a lack of integrity,
Yeah.
fallen into situations where there is a lack of responsibility, and they're starting to see that, oh gosh, I think I might have fallen into a situation where it really lacks integrity, or it lacked integrity the time that I was there, and something slipped through the cracks and I need help now. And supporting somebody that has had an actual an actual poor experience because of lack of integrity. Yeah.
I've definitely lacked integrity in the past when it comes to these kind of things, and just young, foolish, taking things, not really honoring anything, and just trying to have a good time and a good experience, and it often led me into very dark places. And I can really feel now like there was deep trauma which was coming up, and it freaked me out, and it opened, there was a number of times it opened stuff up that I didn't know what to do with. I didn't know how to kind of, it felt like put it back, you know, stuff it back hidden away. And this happened multiple times throughout my like late teens, 20s, where I'd go in and have these experiences and stuff would come up. And yeah, it would leave me in a very dark place. But I also had no idea. I just had no idea about all of this. And I just, if I could go back, I would do things very differently in a much more sacred, respectful, honorable way. But growing up, the narrative was, drugs are bad. Stay away from them.
Mhm.
Period. End. That was it. you start taking drugs, and you know you're going to end up going crazy or in jail or dying. That's basically it. And so that like extra, and I see the merit to that. Like, I get it. Like, we should not be teaching young people, oh, come try this thing over here. Like, it should be respected and honored. And there just wasn't that growing up. And obviously when you're growing up and you're like, oh, well, this thing's wrong and bad, and now I've got all this shame and things, you're like, well, I'm wrong and bad, so maybe I should try this thing over here. Maybe this is what all the cool kids are doing. Maybe this is what I should be doing. And then whenever I would kind of like go down that road, it would it would just lead me into very dark places. And I just wish there was more education about this in the public, across the board. And that starts obviously all with honoring, being respectful, which, I was just at work yesterday. I was watching these kids, kids being kids, but they're coming up to the ice machine and they're grabbing ice and they're throwing it at each other and they're having a great time. But this is in the middle of a restaurant, and now there's water all over the floor and they've left all this ice puddles. Someone could so easily come out of the kitchen with a whole plate of food and just slip and really, really hurt themselves. It was this moment I was realizing, like, there's no guidance by the parents right now. They're at the bar drinking, having fun. They have no idea what the kids are doing. The kids are just having fun in their mind. But there's a lot of harm which is being created here, potential for it, if no one, steps in and intervenes. So I had to go out and kind of give them a bit of guidance and education and be like, look what mess you're making and look how much of a danger this could be. And I feel like that's society. No one really cares. Adults are too busy just trying to get through the day and survival mode. And so we're just so low. That's basically what it is. We're just so low. There's a lack of guidance, a lack of education around all of these things. And we really need it as a collective.
Well, it's a huge issue right now. And obviously, that subject right there, Danny, we can have a whole another podcast on. But, as it relates to this particular topic, we're talking about, are you going to line up and be influenced by powerlessness, or are you going to line up and be influenced by your agency over yourself and personal responsibility and care for yourself and your community and your people? And when we're talking about how I honor this thing that I have in this cup, am I just going to slam it back and not have appreciation for what's here? So I have my detox tea, or I have my blue lotus flower, or I have my cacao, or I might have my double espresso. Am I respectfully bringing this into this vessel? I care about this vessel so much that I discuss what this thing is for me and in me. I don't gallivant around the world just sloshing back and tossing back and treating myself like a trash can. It's like total respect and honor for not only myself, but what's in this cup here, and calling forth the medicinal properties of whatever this may be, or whatever this thing is going to offer me. So I think, to your point there, is when we look at the sacrament versus the drug. Yes, it is a drug. Yes, it can influence your state of affairs, your emotional, your mental, your physical state. It is altering it. So therefore, a drug. Yes. But when I bring it in a respectful way, and it's a sacrament, it's one energy. And when I'm bringing it in to go party with my friends and do, F all, it's a completely different energy. And I'm not saying at all that that's a bad thing. Not judging that at all. There's a time and place for lots of different things. But when we're coming to it and we're like, heal me, fix me, rearrange me. Your job, not mine. Oh, we got some real big issues here. And that's what the course is really about. So I want to make it crystal clear that this is not about judging use in any way, shape, or form. Go party, my brother. Be safe about it. Go have some fun. But if you're coming to whatever this is and you're asking for healing, you're asking for support, you're asking for help, you're asking for guidance, that's where we come in to help you heal and learn how to heal yourself with the information that is offered by all of these medicines. Yes.
Yeah, and I found doing this work, doing the work at MSU, connecting to my power, and healing and elevating, I have no desire to use medicines anymore, use these kind of tools. And I used to really want to. The only thing I would maybe make an exception for is a little bit of cannabis every now and again, just because it really allows me to have these like crazy visions and really intense connection to whatever it is I'm experiencing. But I used to like really want to quite regularly. Like there was a period, go take mushrooms and go into the like the wilderness, go into the forests and the woods and the mountains in Colorado. And at the time, it did feel like it was like serving me, and I just don't have that craving for it in any kind of way now. I know that part of that is because I'm in honoring to that now, and I'm only going to do it when I really feel like I'm being called. Whereas, and this goes to what you were just saying, whereas in the past, I wouldn't think about I would think about it. I wouldn't truly feel into, do I actually need to take this thing? Is this thing actually for me right now? Am I in reverence with it? Do I actually like want this all the way down to my soul? I was in much more of a use, take, like, young child just doesn't know what it's doing, just eating whatever, taking whatever, not really thinking about it, not really caring. And over the past few years, now I've just arrived at a place that I may have other experiences with plant medicine down the road. I don't know, but I'm only going to do it now when I really feel called. And I'm starting to learn this same lesson with food now. Ellie and I we've been going into fasting, and we're going to record a few podcasts about this, but I'm learning now to only give my body the food that it needs. And before, I was just in this energy of like, well, I want this, I don't care. And there's the little like entitled child, doesn't even listen, not even spending the time to check in with myself and actually think, do I actually need this? Is this actually for me? And then there's a big difference between, and it goes back to what you said at the beginning, the energy that you come from. Is the answer, yeah, this is for me? And is that actually coming from your heart? Do you fully feel all the way through your heart, your soul, every cell of your body, that taking this substance right now in a very sacred way is going to be for my benefit and therefore your benefit, because we are one? Or is that just my mind saying yeah because I want to do this and I want to have the experience? And there's a very big difference there. And I can look back and I'm pretty sure most times it was probably my mind that was just going, yeah, this is for you. Even when I started asking the question, even like a couple of years ago, okay, is this for me? I'm going to bless this. I'm going to, I'm going to say, I love you. I'm going to do the whole Ho'oponopono. I love you. I'm sorry. Thank you. I love you. Whatever. And then I would just do whatever I wanted. I wasn't actually really feeling, does this want to be in my body? Is it going to benefit the all if I take this? And so that's where I'm at now with it. And I've just found that I don't, there's less a draw to do those kind of things.
But it's all part of the human experience too. We're learning, we're waking up and we're becoming aware of certain things. And we're in this human experience, and we're not here to judge the human experience. You know, I've talked to Red Wine before, and I'm like, hey, Red Wine, you look so good. What are you going to do for me? And she's like, I'll make you feel good for like 15 minutes and then I'm going to tank you, you know? And I'm like, okay, well, let's party. I'm not going to sit here and judge myself for the decision that I made. Yeah, I'm probably going to feel kind of crappy when I wake up in the morning, but hell of a day, you know, hell of an hour, whatever that was. I don't think we're here to judge the human experience. I think we're here to have it, but we're also waking up and recognizing how we're coming to these things, Danny. And I love that you just brought that up, because it's like, yeah, do I want the chocolate cake? What part of me needs the chocolate cake? The fun part, the kid part.
Girl, don't talk about chocolate cake. Okay, I'm on day 7 of my fast. Don't talk about chocolate
I knew
cake.
I was gonna get you right there, Ellie.
I love chocolate cake.
Me too. Now you got cake on my
I love
mind.
me some chocolate. Oh, so good.
Yeah, and you know, and a part of the human experience too. I mean, what we're learning is really discernment, feeling into subtle energies, what's coming from our mind, what's coming from our hearts, and we're gonna trip and fall. Like if you had a chocolate cake in front of me right now, it might break my fast, might listen to my mind, you know. But yeah, again, that's all a part of, you know, what we're here to discover and uncover and learn and grow from. And so, yeah, it's all perfect. You know, it really is. Yeah. Well, Baker, I'll probably be signing up for this class. I'm so excited for everyone at home. Be so excited for what Master of Self University is becoming and all of the courses that are on your way, because this is one of many incredible, incredible, incredible classes that you can take part in and be a part of. And yeah, just super pumped for this one. To anyone at home, if you know people who are interested in doing plant medicine and want to have the education and want to do it very responsibly, well, check out masterofselfuniversity.com and you can learn more about Rachel Baker's program and everything else that we offer. And please share this podcast. It helps us to keep doing it for free. And share, subscribe, comment, like, all the things. And until next time, we'll see you guys then. Bye.
Bye.